All right, let's kick off this deep dive. We're tackling real estate lead generation today. And wow, the stuff you sent over is really interesting. Clearly, someone's serious about building their real estate business.
Yeah.
That intro grabbed me. It said, lead generation's like the foundation of a real estate career. No foundation, no house. Right.
Yeah, that's a great analogy. I mean, you could have the best sales skills in the world, be super charming, but if you're not consistently generating leads, you're not going to get very far.
Makes sense. So how do we build this foundation? The source material dives right into needing a multifaceted approach. Like it's not just one magic bullet. It's about creating a system that works, right?
Totally. And the material emphasizes understanding your target market, your strengths. It's about picking the right tools for the job, like a toolkit.
And there are a lot of tools in this toolkit. Referrals, networking, online marketing, open houses, even stuff like cold calling and door knocking, which I know some people might be a little hesitant about these days.
Yeah, but here's a statistic that really stood out to me from the material. It said 82% of real estate agents get at least one lead from referrals each year. So tapping into your network, building strong relationships, that should be top of mind.
82%. Wow. Referrals are huge then. And the source material gets into how to actually cultivate a referral network. It's not just about asking, right? It's about consistently giving such amazing service that people want to recommend you.
Exactly. It's like creating those super fans, the ones who are so happy with your work they can't help but tell everyone. That's the kind of referral that's pure gold.
Okay, makes sense. Now, online presence. The source material is very clear. It's non-negotiable. It said your website's often that first impression you make on clients, so it needs to look good, be easy to use, and really show off what you know.
Think of it like your 24/7 virtual storefront. Inviting, easy to get around, and it has to tell people what you do and how you can help them.
Got it. And the material actually gives some really practical tips to make your website generate those leads, like making sure your contact info is super visible and having those clear calls to action that guide visitors, whether it's booking a meeting or getting a market report.
Yeah, those calls to action are key. They tell the visitor exactly what to do next, makes it easy to engage with you.
Right. Now, content marketing, specifically social media, the source material is big on this, sharing insights, market updates, connecting with people. But it's really clear. Don't be overly salesy. It's more about providing value, positioning yourself as a trusted resource.
Yeah, that's so important. People see right through a hard sell. Focus on building relationships, offering useful info. Let your expertise speak for itself.
Okay, so it's about giving, not just taking. The material gives cool examples of engaging content, too, like behind-the-scenes stuff, testimonials, even highlighting the local community, being relatable, humanizing real estate.
Authenticity matters online. People want to connect with people, not just, some brand.
Right. They want the real you.
Yeah.
Now, on to paid advertising, particularly on platforms like Facebook and Google. The material suggests targeted ads can be powerful for reaching specific people, getting those high-quality leads.
For sure. But you've got to have a strategy, really understand how to use these platforms. The material recommends setting a budget, trying different ad formats, and, constantly checking your results to make sure it's working.
So it's about being smart and making sure your money's actually working for you.
Absolutely. Just throwing money at ads without a plan.
Mm.
That's a recipe for, wasting money.
And speaking of being strategic, the source material is big on email marketing, too. Keeping in touch with potential clients, staying on their radar.
It's all about creating a system, staying in touch, giving them useful info, and kind of gently guiding them through the whole process.
And it's not just sending the same email to everyone, right?
Yeah.
The material says you got to segment your audience, make those emails really tailored to them, what they need and are interested in.
Personalization is key. It shows you're paying attention and, actually care about helping them find what they're looking for.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of the digital side of things. But what about those more traditional methods? The old school stuff, open houses, community engagement. The source material doesn't dismiss them at all. In fact, it says they can still be super effective, especially when done right.
Yeah. And what's interesting is how the source material suggests we think about open houses. It's not just showing off the property, it's using it as a chance to connect with potential clients, answer their questions, build relationships.
Yeah, I love that approach. Be welcoming, be helpful, connect with people.
It's about shifting the focus from selling to serving,
Serving, not selling.
Mm-hmm.
And that focus on serving applies to community engagement, too. The source material talks about going to local events, supporting local businesses, volunteering, All of this helps you become a familiar face, build trust.
It's about being part of the community, showing you care, you're invested.
And those personal connections can be so valuable in real estate. Trust is everything, right?
Absolutely. People want to work with someone they know, like, and trust.
All right. Now, for the stuff that sometimes makes agents, well, a little uncomfortable, cold calling and direct outreach, the source material's honest.
Yeah,
It can be tough. You need a thick skin.
but it can work if you do it strategically.
The key is going in with a mindset of giving value, not just pushing for a sale. The source material has a story about an agent who uses cold calls to introduce themselves to new residents. They offer a free market report, highlight their local expertise.
It's a good example of using cold calling to build relationships, offer something of value, not just trying to, make a quick buck.
Right, it's about giving, not just taking. Okay, wow, we've already covered so much.
We have. Maybe we take a little pause here, come back for part 2. We can dive into some more advanced techniques and really get into how to turn those leads into actual clients. All right, we're back and ready to go even deeper. Let's talk about turning those leads into loyal clients.
I'm all ears. The source material really emphasizes that getting those leads is just the beginning. Nurturing them, building relationships, and actually getting to that successful transaction, that's the real game.
It's about making the entire experience smooth, from that very first contact all the way to closing the deal. The material calls it building a lead conversion funnel.
Ooh, I like that visual. So what are the key parts of this funnel?
Well, source material is really clear about needing a solid follow-up system. You got to stay on people's radar, keep giving them value, and be ready when they're ready to make a move.
Okay, so it's about being there every step of the way. The source material suggests creating like a series of emails that go out automatically, giving helpful info, market updates, even just checking in.
Exactly. Automation can be a lifesaver. And you can tailor them to different people, too. So, like, someone buying their first home gets different info than, say, someone selling a luxury property.
Makes sense. And the material really emphasizes personalization, too. It's not just about generic templates, right? It's about adding that human touch.
Right, like a handwritten note, a quick call to check in, even just remembering something they mentioned before. That stuff makes a difference, shows you're paying attention, you actually care about helping them with their real estate goals.
It's that human connection, which can be easy to lose online, I guess.
Absolutely. Now, another important part of converting leads is understanding where the buyer's at in their journey. The source material points out that not all leads are created equal. Some are ready to jump right in, others might be months, even years away from actually buying or selling.
Okay, that's interesting. So how do you manage leads who are at like different points in that journey?
Well, the material suggests using a CRM system. You can track your leads, see how ready they are, and then tailor your communication to that.
Makes sense. You wouldn't want to overwhelm someone who's just starting to look around with like the same level of detail as someone who's actively making offers, right?
Right. Meet them where they're at, give them information that's relevant, answer their questions, guide them to that next step.
Okay, so it's a process. You got to be strategic about it. The source material also talks about building trust and showing you're credible. Clients need to know you have the knowledge and experience to help them navigate this whole real estate world, which can be pretty complicated.
Totally. Position yourself as the expert. Showcase your track record. Prove that you're committed to giving amazing service.
Right, show them you know your stuff.
Yeah.
The material suggests sharing testimonials from happy clients, highlighting any awards or certifications you have, even creating like educational content that shows off your expertise.
All great ways to build that credibility and show what you bring to the table.
Okay, I like it. Now, communication. This can make or break a deal, right? The source material is super clear. Clear, consistent, and effective communication throughout the whole thing.
Communication is everything. Be responsive, be proactive, keep your clients in the loop.
And the material gives some great, like, practical tips. Setting clear expectations up front about how often you'll be in touch, using different ways to communicate to fit people's preferences, and always following up quickly.
Yeah, those little things add up. They show you're organized, you're paying attention, and you're committed to keeping them informed.
Right, it's about respecting their time and preferences. And the source material also talks about active listening, which is something I think a lot of people forget. It's not just about talking, it's about really understanding their needs and concerns and what they're hoping to achieve.
Active listening is crucial. builds rapport, establishes trust, make sure you're both on the same page. It's about asking the right questions, paying attention to what they're saying, and what their body language is telling you, and then repeating back what you've heard to make sure you've got it right.
So it's about really being present in those conversations, not just going through the motions. The source material suggests using those open-ended questions, letting the client share, and not like interrupting or jumping to conclusions.
Exactly. Create that safe space for them to open up.
Now, let's talk about something that can be a little tricky. Handling objections. When a client pushes back or has concerns, the source material is realistic. Objections happen. They're a natural part of the process. It encourages agents to see them as opportunities, not roadblocks.
I like that because often an objection just means the client needs more info, some reassurance, or something clarified. It's a chance to dig deeper,
Right.
really address their worries.
So it's about being helpful, not defensive. The material actually gives a framework for handling objections. First, you acknowledge and validate their concern. Let them know you understand where they're coming from. Then you give them information or solutions that directly address that specific objection. And finally, you confirm they understand and move the conversation forward.
It's all about being prepared, staying calm, and addressing those objections in a way that's helpful and makes them feel confident.
So it's about turning a potential negative into a positive. Now let's talk closing, actually getting the deal done. The source material says that a lot of agents struggle with this part. Maybe they're afraid of being too pushy, or they just don't know how to ask for the business.
Yeah, closing is a skill. It takes practice. The material recommends different closing techniques depending on the situation and the client.
It suggests using trial closes along the way to kind of test the waters and see if the client's ready. And to deal with any concerns before you get to that final stage.
Like you could say something like, if we find a place that checks all your boxes, are you ready to make an offer? Just to get a sense of where they're at.
Okay, so it's about being strategic, but also sensitive to their timeline. And the material talks about creating that sense of urgency without being pushy, like pointing out why acting now is beneficial. Maybe they can lock in a good interest rate or avoid a bidding war.
It's about framing the decision in a way that highlights the benefits of moving forward, not just waiting around.
Got it. So let's say you close the deal. Congrats. But the journey's not over, right? The source material really emphasizes the importance of what happens after the sale, making sure the client is happy, continuing to give great service.
This is where you turn those clients into like super fans who tell everyone how great you are.
Exactly. And the material suggests simple things like staying in touch after closing, sending a thank you note, being there to answer questions.
Yeah, go that extra mile. Make it a great experience for them.
It even suggests having a system for getting feedback after closing. That way you can see what you did well, what you could improve, and make sure you're always exceeding expectations.
Feedback is so valuable. You learn and grow, and it shows your clients that you care what they think. You want to give them the best possible service.
Now let's shift gears a bit and talk about building your personal brand. This is essential for long-term success, right? It's what makes you stand out.
Totally. Your personal brand is what sets you apart. It's about showing your unique value, your personality, and creating an image that people remember.
Okay, so it's about being memorable, being you. The source material says you should start by understanding who your ideal client is and what they want in an agent. Then figure out what makes you unique. Your passions, your values, what sets you apart from other agents.
Nail down those things that make you different and create a brand message that speaks to your perfect client.
Got it. And consistency is key, right? The material talks about using the same visual style, the same tone of voice, the same messaging across everything you do.
Consistency helps people recognize you and reinforces your brand message. It creates a cohesive experience no matter where they interact with you.
Okay, so it's about being recognizable, being consistent. And social media plays a big role in building your brand, right? The source material says, use platforms like Instagram and Facebook to share behind-the-scenes stuff, client testimonials, let your personality shine through.
Social media is a great way to connect with people on a more personal level, build those relationships, and show off your unique brand.
Right. And it's about engaging with people, responding to comments, sharing valuable content that your audience actually cares about.
Build a community around your brand. Become that trusted resource, the go-to expert in the real estate world.
Okay, love it. Now, let's talk tech. The source material is really big on embracing technology to make things run smoother, make the client experience better, and ultimately grow your business.
Technology is changing everything in real estate. CRMs, virtual tours, social media tools, mobile apps. There are so many ways to use tech to your advantage.
Yeah, there's an app for everything these days. The material says stay updated on what's new, go to conferences, and don't be afraid to try out new tools and platforms.
It's all about having that growth mindset. See technology as a tool that can help you succeed.
And it's not just about using tech for yourself. It's about using it to make things better for your clients too.
Hmm.
Virtual tours, online document signing, personalized alerts, all these things can make buying or selling way more convenient for them.
Exactly. Create a smooth, stress-free experience that makes you stand out from the competition.
Okay, so it's about using tech to work smarter, not harder. And on that note, let's talk about something that's so important for lasting success, in any job really, building a solid support system. The source material really emphasizes surrounding yourself with people who can offer guidance, encouragement, and keep you accountable.
Yeah, real estate can be tough. It's easy to feel isolated. Having those people you can lean on makes a huge difference.
The material suggests finding a mentor, joining a networking group, or even just connecting with other agents who get it. They understand the unique challenges and rewards of this job.
Mentors can give you such incredible advice based on their experience. Networking groups are great for meeting people, sharing ideas, staying up to date on what's happening in the industry.
And just having a group of people who understand the ups and downs of the real estate market can be so helpful for, like, moral support and encouragement when you need it.
For sure, it's about building those connections, remembering you don't have to go it alone.
Okay, last but not least, taking care of yourself. The source material is really clear about this. Maintain that work-life balance, manage your stress, and prioritize your well-being, both physical and mental.
It's easy to get caught up in the hustle of real estate and forget to take care of yourself. But you can't pour from an empty cup. You have to take care of yourself first.
So true. The material suggests setting boundaries, scheduling time for self-care, learning ways to manage stress.
It's not selfish. Taking care of yourself is essential. You'll be more successful and happier in the long run.
Right, it's about sustainability. You can't burn yourself out. The material even suggests incorporating like mindfulness practices into your routine. Meditation, yoga, even just taking a few minutes to unplug and breathe.
Those practices can really help you stay grounded and manage that stress.
Okay, so before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, let's revisit that idea of the lead conversion funnel. We've talked about all these different strategies and techniques, but how do they all work together to create a system that actually gets results?
The source material suggests picturing the funnel as a series of stages, each with its own goals and activities.
So at the top, you have lead generation. You're trying to attract attention, capture leads, make people aware of your brand.
Then, as those leads move through the funnel, you nurture those relationships, give them valuable info, address any concerns they might have.
And finally, at the bottom of the funnel, you have the closing stage. This is where you guide those qualified leads towards a successful transaction.
But it doesn't end there. The source material stresses that post-sale service is so important. Keep nurturing those relationships, get referrals, and repeat business.
It's a cycle then. Each successful transaction feeds back into the top of the funnel, brings in more leads, and keeps your business growing.
Exactly. It's about finding a system that works for you, keeps those leads coming in, nurtures those relationships, and ultimately helps you succeed in the long run. But you know what? We should probably pause one last time before wrapping everything up in part 3.
All right, we're back for the final part of this lead generation deep dive. It feels like we've gone through like a whole real estate masterclass already.
We have, it's true. And it's all super important for building a successful real estate career. But before we wrap up completely, maybe we could highlight a few of the big takeaways from the source material.
Totally. What really stood out to you?
One thing that stuck with me was the emphasis on being proactive.
Hmm.
It's not enough to just sit around waiting for the phone to ring. You have to be out there creating opportunities, building relationships, always putting yourself out there.
Be the go-getter. Yeah, I remember the material talked about that. And also being flexible, embracing change, especially in real estate where things are always evolving so quickly.
Oh, for sure. New tech, new marketing platforms, even just how clients want to be interacted with. It's constantly changing. The agents who really make it are the ones who are willing to learn and adapt. Change their strategies when they need to.
Have that growth mindset and accept that in this industry, you never stop learning.
Totally. And it's not just about keeping up with the changes happening around you. It's about always looking at your own systems, how you do things, and figuring out how to do them better.
The source material talked about tracking your results, looking at the data, and figuring out what's working, what's not right.
Exactly. Make decisions based on what the numbers tell you, not just your gut feeling.
Data-driven decisions. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, before we sign off completely, I want to touch on something that maybe seems obvious, but it's so easy to forget: giving amazing customer service.
You'd think it would be a given, but you'd be surprised how many agents drop the ball on that. The source material really hammers home that every interaction with a client, every phone call, email, showing, it's all a chance to make a great impression.
Go above and beyond, make them feel valued.
And when clients are happy, that's when you get those referrals. Like we talked about before, word of mouth is incredibly powerful.
Full circle.
Yeah.
Okay, so as we wrap up this deep dive, any final words of wisdom for our listener? Something to think about as they keep building their real estate career.
I think the biggest thing to remember is that lead generation has a lot of different moving parts. It's not about finding that one perfect trick. It's about building a system that works for you, constantly learning and getting better, and always giving your client something truly valuable.
Be proactive, be adaptable, never stop learning.
And never forget, real estate is about people,
Yes.
helping them find their dream home, making their dreams a reality.
That's a perfect way to end this. I hope you enjoyed this deep dive as much as we did. We covered a ton of info, but this is just the beginning. Keep learning, keep growing, and watch your real estate business thrive.